Welcome guys, thank you for watching this video, but before we proceed, do not forget to subscribe, turn on the notification bell, like this video, share it to all of your friends, and also check out the description for further information guys. And now, let's get into the video.
Alright guys, so welcome to today's video, and in today's video we will probably work on our first skill. So this is going to be a video about combat skills, etc. So we are going to create a tool which makes a GUI appear in either the left or the right bottom corner, which displays some skills you can unlock and you can use, of course. And we might manage to create our first combat skill, which is of course going to be the default combat, like punching and kicking, you know? And that video is going to lay the base for a future video I have already planned, which is about creating an NPC which just attacks you, you know? And that's basically my idea for the next episodes. And after the combat video, we could also work on a sword skill video, which is pretty much the same. So we have a tool again, which just equips your sword, and then a GUI appears, which just represents your skills, or which also represents the skills which you can still unlock. And by pressing a certain key, which is also being displayed in the GUI, you just fire or attack with certain moves. And that video is also going to lay the base for another type of NPC, which just attacks you with swords. Okay, so enough with the talking, enough with the intro, guys. Let's get right into this video. Okay, so as I've already told you, this whole thing is going to be a tool. So right click on your starter pack and then insert object and then select tool. And let's call this thing, let's call this thing combat. And make sure that inside of this properties tab that requires handle is unticked, otherwise this will not work out. And now add a local script inside. And yeah, so the first line is going to define a new variable which is going to refer to our player. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, script parent activated, no, not activated, but equipped, connect function. There we go, okay. Equipped false. So we are creating another variable called equipped, and that is going to be turned to false by default, and it is going to turn true every time our tool has been equipped. So what this basically expresses is that, first of all, script parent refers to the tool, of course, and then .equipped is an event which fires when the tool has been equipped. Means when I have pressed 1, once this tool appears in my toolbar right here. So when I press 1, equip basically turns to true, as you can see, because we are equipping the tool. Alright, and of course we need to do this. We need to do the opposite of this one. So script parent unequipped, I think. Then equipped needs to be false. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now the second thing we wanna define is another variable called user input service, and you guys should know about this one when you have watched my previous or my past videos. And what this service basically does is that it detects the user's input, and the user's input can be any input on your keyboard, on your mouse, but also on your controller, I think. I'm not sure about that. I haven't dealt with any of controller input recognition yet, but I think that it should also handle that. Okay, now user input service. So this user input service basically has many events, but we will put the focus on input began, and this event recognizes or notices when an input has begun. And why begun? Because an input, so the user can initiate the input, but cannot end it at the same moment, you know? So there's a difference in beginning an input and ending it, and only doing an input basically contains both, you know? and therefore differentiating between these two things is pretty important, especially when it comes to creating moves which are holdable. I even think that yeah, okay, wait, yeah, right here in this shift to sprint thing. So we have this input begin, which initiates the sprint, which just creates all of this camera effects, drains the stamina, and makes the player overall just move faster. And after the input has ended, everything turns back to normal. So this sprint thing right here is holdable as well, and therefore, this thing right here is a good example to just empathize how important this difference between input began and input ended is. Okay. Yeah, of course, this event right here comes with some argument. So the first argument is your input, or the input which has been done or which has begun. The second one is the game processed event. I'm going to explain this now. So it is a difference if you really intend to do the input, or if you just do it because you are interacting with any of the game elements. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you have a move on your F key, for example, and when you type in your chat bar, so when you type something like "hello friend," then you also will need to press the F button. And in that case, you did not really intend to press the F button or to attack, but you wanted to press the F button to type "hello friend," And that's a good example to show, or to just tell you, or to demonstrate you what GP basically does. So if this input was not done while this game processed event, means while interacting with game elements such as the chat or anything else, means the player really intended to press the F key or to just press a certain key, then we want to continue, because that's when the player actually wants to attack. And yeah. Okay, game processed event. Alright, cool. And yeah, so input. Now, so the default combat should be, I think, should be on the left mouse button, and I need to find out what the so how to refer to the mouse button, because that was a little bit more complicated. I think it was user input type, unum user input type mouse. Okay, never mind, I have found it out. So that's how you refer, or how you check if your input was your mouse button 1. Mouse button 1 is basically the left mouse button 2 would be the right mouse button, and so on. So if our input was the first mouse button, aka the left mouse button, and equipped, then so basically just writing equipped like this is the same as writing equipped equals true. Okay, so if these requirements are met, then we wanna do our basic combat. As you can see, it works fine, it prints it out as it should. And yeah, now let's move on with, what was it, with enabling the GUI. And for those purposes, we will need to create those skills, so those skills frames, etc. Okay, so the first one is about the combat. Okay, so let's move this thing down. Wait, let me just give it a size. So in Blox Fruits, for example, as far as I can remember, as I've already said, I barely play any Roblox, but as far as I remember, you had some kind of mastery level, and I plan on doing the same, so that you have a mastery level of your skill, in our case our combat, which just levels up with the use of this move, of this skill, and by leveling up your mastery, you basically just unlock new skills down here, and by unlocking new skills, you of course acquire them, you can use them, and you just overall get more stronger and just have more moves overall, and that's basically what I intend to do as well. I just want to work on the basic combat in this episode and just create this mastery system. So basically just the same as we have did in our stat system, so this leveling up. But wait. Never mind. We already have. No, wait, we already have some kind of mastery. Look, so we have our. Okay, never mind what I've just said. We have those stats right here, and we can of course use them to unlock new skills right here. Okay, yeah, pretty awkward now. I cannot even remember what I've done in my last episodes. But yeah, okay, never mind. And of course, if you want to do another design, then feel free to do that, but make sure that you keep the same components. So you will of course need the scrolling frame right here. You will need a frame called combat, and this whole thing should be inside of another frame called skills frame, so just keep the names and keep the components, but add some different colors. You can also add some shading to it by adding a text label and turning the transparency or increasing the transparency a little bit up. So you can of course add them, but make sure that they are there. And okay, so just make sure that that's the case. Okay, so the scrolling frame right here, let's do that. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna increase this canvas size. And there we go. Okay. Now. So, we now want to, enable this combat frame. So turn visible to true when this whole thing right here has been equipped. Okay. So player GUI, main GUI, skills frame. Okay. Create parent name, visible, true. So that's one way to set the visibility to true. Let's see if it has worked. Okay, it does work. All right. There are of course several other methods to make this look more fancier. So we could, for example, let's turn the visibility to true, and we need to memorize this position. So I'm pasting it down here, and where is it? Yeah, right there. So if we move this whole thing down, we could make it move up. So create some kind of transition by using tweening. So I'm not going to explain tweening at this point. I have already explained it in the stamina video, for example, but in many other videos as well. So go check them out. game get service, tween service, create. Wait. Alright, there we go. Let's see how this is going to look like. And there we go, guys. Okay, yeah. we have made it buggy at this point. So if you use it the way you should, then it works fine, but if you try to bug it out, then it will glitch. Yeah. Okay, a possible fix to this could be the following. So if equipped false, then there we go. If equipped, then so this should be a possible fix, I think. So we basically check from the beginning if this equipped value right here is false, because if it is false, then we want to turn it on, and if it is turned on, then we want to turn it to false. Let's see if it works. Let's hope so. Okay. Okay, yeah. As you can see, or probably here as well, I have spammed my key. I've spammed the one key. And it works fine. Okay. Alright. Now, let's move on with the default combat. So let's add a remote event. So right click on the local script, insert object, and then add this remote event. And now let's add another script inside. So default script, so right click and insert object, and then insert the script. And now we want to do the following. So we want to fire server this remote event once the left mouse button has been clicked. And fire serving this remote event with certain arguments, or with specific arguments, will cause this combat server script to react by creating the combat attack. Okay. Now, print fight. So let's remove this and let's say, or let's express script combat, fire server, basic combat. Okay. Now let's go inside of this combat server script. So script parent, combat, on server event, connect function, player, what? Okay, now let me explain those lines. So script, of course this script, then combat, refers to the remote event, we are fire serving it, which is of course a function, indicated by those double dots, I don't know how you call them in English, and then you add those brackets, and inside of those brackets you can add some arguments, and our first argument right here is basic combat, which tells the script what to do. So I like to use the first argument as some kind of task. As you can see, I have already called the first argument right here what, and of course the player is the first argument, but the player is not being directly added inside of here, therefore I prefer considering this as our first argument. So this player argument right here is just automatically being passed onto the script while fire serving, so there's no need to add player inside of here, you know? Okay, so this what, or I could also call task, basically tells the script what to do. So if the script's task is to create this basic combat, then we are going to create it. So what does our combat consist of? It consists of an animation, maybe some effects, and the damage, of course. And in detail, we can say that we want to drain the stamina when our basic combat happens or when we attack, that our stats such as the strength or maybe the speed go up because we are training, because we have been using some combat attacks, and maybe we can also say that the enemy's defense, well, it is of course, or we of course need to know whether the enemy is a player or not, but if the enemy is a player, then we want to increase the enemy's defense stat as well, because the enemy has to defend himself from our attacks, you know, and that also seems logical to me at least. So these are the things we wanted to do. I hope that I do not forget them. Okay, let's start by doing what? Let me just see where all of these stats and I don't know other stuff is located. So we have the stats folder right here. Okay, interesting. Our stamina is okay. Stamina region. Okay. Perfect. Now, local data. No, local stats. Oh, come on. These stats. Player. Player stats. Local stamina. Player stamina. Okay, so we have to find those two variables right here. The first variable refers to the player stats folder, in which our strength level, or our strength EXP, our speed EXP, our whatsoever EXP or level is located. So just to be able to level them up or to increase them. And the next thing is of course our stamina, which is going to be drained when using attacks, which is pretty logical. So you of course are somehow exhausted after doing some kind of exercise like that. Okay, so stamina value minus math random 1, I don't know, 1 to 5 maybe. Let's see how this is going to work out. So as you can see, maybe here, wait, let me get my mouse right here. So you probably hear it now. I'm clicking on my mouse and nothing is happening, which tells us that everything works fine. Now, if I equip this combat and press the left mouse button, we should, recognize a drop of our stamina. And as you can see, that's totally the case. So our stamina drains down because we are using this basic combat thing, but of course we have not added any animations, any whatsoever yet. But that is going to come. Okay, so the next step is to create the animation. So animation, another thing which we should define is the player's character. So char, workspace, wait for child, player.name. If we're going to put the animation inside of that one, so animation, so our animation's name is going to be combat, animation ID. Okay, there we go. So this is going to be the point where we will enter our animation IDs inside. The thing is that we haven't created any animations yet, and I do not think that we are going to create them now. So I'm going to create them in the next episode. Yeah. I'm gonna create a table right here, which is going to contain some animations, so some kick animations, punching animations, etc. And this line right here is just randomly going to pick out one of those IDs inside of this table and is going to add it inside of here. So every time a random animation is being played, and as I've already said, that animation can be a kick animation, a punch animation, whatsoever. So animation table math random one animation table. So let me explain this line right here. So basically our animation ID consists of this part and then the ID itself, so the numbers, and those two dots connect this part with this part, and right from the beginning we are setting everything instead of those brackets, means this part right here, into strings, because we are going to store the ID as numbers. We can also store them as strings and get rid of this one, but that won't make a difference. So you either make it a string at this point or at this point, you know. Okay, so we are receiving some numbers, aka IDs, and we are referring to the animation table right here, which is currently empty, but do not worry, we are going to fill in some IDs in the next episode. And it refers to this table and then to a certain index. Okay, index in this case means so it refers or tries to refer to a certain entry, and the entry can be identified through a number. Okay, and the number is now randomly being picked up. Okay, so picked out, I mean. And how is this randomizing working? Also, how is it random? Okay, so we have this math.random right here, which picks a number. So this is your minimum number, which is 1, and your highest number or greatest number is here. Okay, and this is basically the length of the table. So this might seem pretty complicated, but let me try to explain it to you. So we now have 5 entries, okay? And the length of this table would be 5 because we have 5 entries. So our first entry is 2, our second entry is 3, and so on. And basically, when this right here, when this math random thing gives or returns 1, then we would try to refer to the first entry, which is 2, okay? So this whole thing would give out 2, or would return 2. If this math random would now, for example, returns 5, then it would try to refer to the fifth entry, which is 6 at this point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as you can see, and so on. So that's basically how this small system works, how this method works, guys. And now let's do one more thing regarding the stats. So p stats strength exp dot value equals strength exp value plus math random. Okay. So I thought about adding speed as well, but I think that I'm gonna add the speed to the sprint because that makes much more sense in my opinion than adding adding an increasement of the speed stat to your combat. So wait, sprint end. But wait. Movement, yeah, sprint. Player stats. Speed exp. Okay, there we go. Let me just yeah, let's enable the stats menu. As you can see, strength currently 1 out of 5 and speed 0 out of 15. Now let me try to run. And as you can see, we have been receiving 2 EXP right here. Now let me try to use combat. Okay, it was empty. Yeah, of course this will not work out because our table is empty, but it would work out if we would have had some IDs inside. So therefore I'm gonna end this video at that point, and the next episode we are totally going to focus on the combat. We are going to create the animations, we are going to finish the combat, guys, and so on. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you for your support as always. Give me ideas in the comment section, guys. Leave me feedback, like this video, share it to all of your friends, subscribe to my channel, guys, and subscribe to my second channel as well. Take care and see you in the next video.